So in this video, we are going to see the concept of DQ, that is double-ended queue. Okay, DQ. There was a concept of DQ, which is deletion of element, but in this particular video, we are learning double-ended queue. Okay, check the spelling. With that, let's try to understand the concept. Points I've already written down on the board. We'll go one by one with each pointer and try to understand what is double-ended queue. So as you can see, the very first point it says is linear data structure. So we already know that queue is a linear data structure where data is stored linearly. Okay. With that, second point says insertion and deletion from both the ends. As the name suggests, double-ended queue. So in this case, our insertion and deletion will happen from both the ends. If you recollect the concept of queue, it looks something like this. There is front and then there is rear instead of this. So there is front and then there is rear. Rear is used for inserting the elements, front is used for deletion of elements. Okay, so this is how your queue would look like. But for double-ended queue, our insertion and deletion can happen from both the ends. Okay, next, two types of queues. One is input restricted and second is output restricted queue. We are going to see in detail what these two types are. But for now, remember this pointer where it says two types, input restricted and output restricted. Let's try to see the next point that is there. Input restricted queue. Now the very first input restricted queue, let's try to understand what it is. Here only one end is used for insertion. So if I have a queue and if it is input restricted, that means only one end would be used for insertion. Suppose this is the end that is used for insertion. This will be the end that will be used for insertion and deletion both. Okay, this end is used for insertion and deletion both. Input restricted. Only one end will be used for insertion. With that, if I say output restricted, when I say output restricted, opposite of input, here only one end is used for deletion. So you delete only from one end. So if this is my queue, from here I can insert as well as delete. From here I can just delete. Input restricted and output restricted. Okay, two types. With that, what are the operations that are used in queue? We have insert from front. So as we know, we can work from both the ends. So these are the operations. First is insert from front. So from front, I will be inserting my elements. Okay, generally we use our rear for insertion. So from front I can insert. Also from rear. So insertion of rear is the same concept that we have seen in queue. So insertion from rear. And then we have deletion from front, that is deleting from front, which we already do in our queue. Deleting from here, from my front. And deletion from rear. Clear? That is the concept of double-ended queue. In double-ended queue, we can work from both the ends. And there are two types, input and output restricted. Okay, programs would be based on this. These are the main functions that you have to focus on, where you are inserting and deleting. In queue also, what do? You insert the elements, you delete the elements. Here, there are two types of inserts. Because it is double-ended queue, there are two types of insert. One is from front, one is from rear. Similarly, deletion is from front, deletion is from rear. So that's why 4 functions. Clear? So this is the concept of queue. Very simple. If you know if your queue concept is clear, even this will be very much easy for you to understand. Programs, 4 functions important. These are the functions that we need to work on so that you understand how the program is executed.